Do you see this as a process that's going to end soon? I mean, will we have an answer soon, or do you think this is going to go down that route of 2000 where, you know, the process of going to the Supreme Court lasted several weeks?
Well, I don't know how all this is going to culminate and whether it will go all the way to the Supreme Court, but it looks like this is going to be a very close race, quite a cliffhanger. And perhaps the pollsters who had predicted an outright Biden victory, their predictions were a bit out of place. I don't believe you are seeing that outcome. There has certainly, everybody called this a referendum on Mr. Trump, and it's really, the election has been all about him. And we cannot in any way, I believe, downplay or misjudge the extent of ground level support there is for him. And this election is really, you know, what are the basic problems that face America today? It's not just a fight between Democrats and Republicans. It's about, you know, the unknown American, the American that was left out of all the progress and prosperity that globalization was supposed to bring. There are grievances, there are issues to be addressed there, and somehow Mr. Trump came on the scene 4 years ago with promises to make to this electorate, and they don't seem to be all that displeased with his performance. So I would say that whatever the outcome will be, it's difficult to judge whether it'll be a Biden victory or whether Mr. Trump will be reelected. But the basic issues don't go away as a result of this election.
No, I just wanted to, thanks very much for joining us. I wanted to ask you, you are perhaps the most experienced and perceptive observer of the United States. So what you're seeing now and culminating in President Trump's speech at 2:33 in the morning, are you astounded, horrified, or quite frankly you expected it?
No, I'm not astounded or horrified in the business that I've been in.
So you expected it. Ah, that's worst.
No, I didn't expect it, but you know, when you see somebody like Mr. Trump, and you know, I was just recalling an interview that Maggie Haberman, who used to work for the New York Post, and the New York Post continues to be the paper that Mr. Trump picks up first thing in the morning. It's his favorite paper. And, you know, you must understand the kind of environment that Mr. Trump has come from. Never mind that he's been president for 4 years. Things haven't really changed. He was a real estate developer. That style hasn't gone away. There's an elemental roughness about how he deals with people and issues. He enjoys having his fiefdom. He keeps a bat under his desk. But, you know, there is something about Trump, perhaps we do not draw the right conclusions also about him, because he's somebody, even if he keeps a bat under his desk, he's conflict averse. He does not like interpersonal conflict. He never closes the door entirely on anyone. But every relationship is transactional, even with his own children. I think nothing is unconditional. So you have a deeply controlling person here. But you know, the rural white voter, the person who hasn't been to college, the person who lives in the Rust Belt in those dead towns, they feel he's got a message for them with his anti-immigrant policy, his anti-Muslim policies. He speaks the way people talk in those regions. And he's been marinated, I think, in that kind of politics. And that's not going to go away. I don't think even if there is a Biden victory, you will see a change in that.
There will be a change. If
there will not be a change. There will not be a change. There will not be a change as far as these basic grievances, the sense of loss that a lot of people feel.
Ah, right. But in the kind of leadership style, a huge change.
The leadership style will change. Mr. Biden is an old style Democratic politician, but to what extent he will be held hostage to the so-called progressive left in the Democratic Party. We'll have to see. And now that the Senate is not going to be with the Democrats, I don't know. I hope if when he comes to power, that will rein in some of the radicalism of the left in the Democratic Party, because they'll have to work to build consensus.
Yeah. Ma'am,
but they won't be able to pack the Supreme Court and balance it. Sorry,
they will not be able to pack the Supreme Court. Yeah.
No, I just wanted to know, does it surprise you, ma'am, that there's been this exit poll which has been done. It's a BBC is reporting this, and it's a credible exit poll. It's done by Edison via Reuters. And on all of the key parameters where people felt that Trump would be doing badly, apparently people in this exit poll felt that he's done very well. For example, on the economy, 35% felt that he's done well, 13% felt that he'd done excellent.
Hello?
Yes, 34% felt that he'd handled coronavirus very poorly, but 31% said that he handled it somewhat well, and 17% said very well. So, it just goes to show that a lot of Trump's bluster has, a real relevance in the minds of so many across America.
Absolutely, Vishnu. I think it resonates a great deal, and that's something perhaps the liberal, the college educated, the people who live in the suburbs, perhaps they're missing out on them. Now, take the pandemic and his handling of the situation. There are lots of people somewhere in flyover country, as they call it in the United States, who feel that it's not the pandemic that's the issue, because ultimately, if you have an epidemic of that sort, that kind of a virus floating around, every person has to take precautions, but to what extent can you blame the administration? That's the attitude. They are looking at the economy, so it's the economy versus the pandemic, the issues concerning the economy, issues concerning jobs, issues concerning taking away a little prosperity from China and bringing it back to the United States. The jobs that he's created in the oil economy, for instance. These things matter. The attitude he's taken on immigration, on his xenophobia. I think this matters a lot to people, as I call it, the in-between people, the people whose voice is not heard, the people, who live in places that have essentially been forgotten and faded, in a sense. They don't seem to be on the map, because we look at the West Coast and we look at the Northeast and we read the New York Times and the Washington Post, but what is the voice of America today? And I think Mr. Trump has in a sense mined that load, as it were.